morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at Zapdos Lycanroc. Yeah, I know, right? You see, everyone knows Zapdos is great. At this stage, it is no secret that Zapdos is a phenomenal Pokemon. Came out in Team Up, it's been out a couple of months, and it's just great. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes, it's just great. For a single lightning energy, it does 80 damage if you became active this turn. Now, 80 damage isn't phenomenal, but please do bear in mind this is for a single energy. And it doesn't hit for weakness, but we also probably need to mention Electro Power at this stage. Because Electro Power means you can do an extra 30 damage when you attack as a lightning Pokemon. I know, right? And that, it just adds up quickly. Time you start adding in stuff like Choice Band as well, you really are on to a winner. It's a really good Pokemon. But you need to get it in and out of the active very quickly. That's where Jirachi comes in. Because Jirachi has... Now, it does nothing in terms of getting you in and out of the active, to be clear. But it's got an ability for when you are in the active, which allows you to look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a trainer card, put it into your hand. Gives you really nice extra consistency. So, if you're going to be trying to get Zapdos in and out the active every turn anyway, you might as well be putting Jirachi in the active so you can use the ability. Then you go ahead and use Escape Board to give it free retreat and allow it to retreat when asleep, which it will be after you've gone ahead and used the ability. This is not new. People know that this is a thing. People know that Jirachi helps you to get Electro Power more easily. People know this is a good deck. And sometimes we see it played with Jolteon GX. 2 energy, lots of damage, pretty nice. And we know that this sees play with Pikarom, which can accelerate 3 energy with the first attack and then hit 200 to the active, 170 to the bench with the GX attack. But what's new is playing it with Lycanroc. Now, this was actually played to a top 8 finish at the Colorado Regionals recently, this past weekend, by Adler Pierce, who I don't know, but I'm willing to bet is a lovely man. And this got me thinking, this stood out to me, because yes, on the face of it, this is a Zapdos Jirachi deck. It's got 4 Jirachi, it's got 3 Zapdos. It plays 7 lightning energy compared to 3 fighting. I ain't going to sit here and argue this isn't a Jirachi Zapdos deck. But I am going to sit here and argue that this is more than a Zapdos Jirachi deck. This does more and is potentially better. Now, there is a counter-argument to this. And the counter-argument very simply is that if you look at the results of Denver Regionals, there was a Zapdos Jolteon that cut in 6th place, played by Zachary Kreckler. Although, to be fair, he has proven over the past few years to be one of the better players in the world. Okay, so there are 2 Zapdos in top 8, and one of them was a more traditional version with Jolteon, but one of them played Lycanroc. So what does Lycanroc bring to the table? Bearing in mind, he only played a 2-1 line of Lycanroc. Yeah, he played a 2-1 line. More on that in a moment. It's partly for the GX attack, and it's partly for the ability. The ability is a gusting effect that brings a Pokemon active. Now, the ability is Lysander, not Guzma, and that's actually incredibly relevant, because this is the kind of deck that would never really want to play Lysander over Guzma. You want the switch, because as we've mentioned, Zapdos Jirachi pretty important for switching. But you get to drag something active. It's an extra gusting effect, and it's a gusting effect as an ability, so if you've not played a Guzma this turn, you're golden. And the reason for this is very simple. Zapdos doesn't hit much. Zapdos hits 80 damage. 80 damage isn't much. 80 damage is not a lot of damage. You can't do very much with 80 damage. Now, this has got to be taken in context. Because when I say you can't do much with 80 damage, bearing in mind you've got Choice Band, bear in mind you've got Electro Power, and bear in mind this is built to be a 2-hit KO deck. And you don't mind being a 2-hit KO deck because all of your Pokemon are single prize Pokemon. The problem is, when you're sitting there as a 2-hit KO deck, you need to be avoiding stuff like Max Potion and Ace Roller. Because if your opponent is able to heal between hits, you're not getting a 2-hit KO, and that's very, very bad indeed. But that's okay, because all you need to worry about here is hoping they don't do it on a single solitary turn, and then you can gust them in the active and KO them. Or you can gust up evolving Pokemon, so you can take out that Zorua before it evolves up and becomes a Zoroark. It gives you one extra gusting effect, but in a deck which needs to take out weaker Pokemon or 2-hit KO, gusting effects are crucial. Missing a gusting effect at the wrong time can lose you the game when your opponent goes and heals and you've got nothing left. This can be absolutely huge. But we've also got the GX attack here. And this is a deck, now look, we're playing one Tapu Koko, we'll talk about him in a moment. But this is not a deck that really relies on GX attacks. You can use Tapu Koko's GX attack, and that's lovely, but you don't have to. It does 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. Whereas Lycanroc does 50 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And Tapu Koko's got the ability that moves the energy over to it when you play it. It's fine. But here's the thing. If they've got lots of energy attached, Tapu Koko. If they don't, Lycanroc. There we go. Sorted. I fixed it. Now, to be fair, Tapu Koko gets the energy when you drop it, whereas Lycanroc, you got to drop an energy on in the early game and then wait to put the second energy on, which can be a pain, although do please remember that Tapu Koko can get the energy onto a Rockruff or a Lycanroc, which will then set you up as essentially a single energy attacker. So it's not the end of the world. We can get Lycanroc's GX attack working quickly. So you've got options there. But the other thing is, what if you're against Pikarom? Because if we go back to the results from Colorado, we see that 4th place was Pikarom and 5th place was Pikarom, and not for nothing, 1st place was Zoroark. So frankly, hitting for a fighting weakness is pretty good, and that's also where Lycanroc comes in. It allows you to hit for a fighting weakness. So you've got an alternate GX attack, but it also hits for a great weakness, and it's got a great ability. That's where Lycanroc comes in. But I should also mention here that as soon as you're playing Lycanroc, you open up the door to play Buzzwole. And Buzzwole, once per game, is amazing. When your opponent has 4 prizes remaining, Buzzwole does 120 for a single energy. And look, maybe they never have 4 prizes remaining. Maybe they go from 5 down to 3. But then again, maybe they've got 4 prizes remaining for more than 1 turn, and you get to do this for more than 1 turn. The point is, you've got options here. There are things that you can do. You don't have to use Buzzwole. You don't have to use Lycanroc. But also you get to hit a weakness that other Zapdos Jirachi decks just aren't hitting. Now that basically is the deck in a nutshell. We do see 1 copy of Marshadow here for the turn 1 Let Loose because, well, I mean, pretty much everyone plays 1 copy of Marshadow for the turn 1 Let Loose here. I'm going to do a video about it later in the week. We also do see 1 copy of Absol here. It increases the retreat cost of basic Pokemon on your opponent's side in the active by 1 colourless energy. But given all of the tag team GXs and all of that, your Pikarom and all that at the moment, this can actually be pretty relevant. It can stick your opponent in the active when they don't want to be stuck in the active. That can be pretty gosh darn cool. Now, the only weird stuff we need to talk about, it's a fairly standard list. It's a lot of stuff you've seen before. But there are 2 trainer cards we really need to talk about here that are particularly relevant. First of all, Rescue Stretcher. Because, now look, I know everybody plays Rescue Stretcher. I'm not saying playing Rescue Stretcher is unusual. I'm saying that Rescue Stretcher has uses here that you don't see in a lot of decks. Now, I also mentioned earlier we are playing a 2-1 Lycanroc line. We're playing 2 Rockruff, 1 Lycanroc. So what we do is we have a Rockruff down, we evolve it in a Lycanroc, you play another Rockruff. At some point, your Lycanroc might go down. It might be KO'd. And you're not playing any cards here that let you pick it up. So if it doesn't get KO'd, it's pointless. But if it does get KO'd, and if it doesn't get KO'd, you're not giving up 2 prizes, right? That's fine by me. But if it does get KO'd, you can Rescue Stretcher, put the Lycanroc directly back into your hand, evolve the Rockruff, and then you've got that ability again. That's pretty gosh darn good. The other thing we've got here is Viridian Forest. Now, you've got a bunch of options when you're playing Zapdos Jirachi decks. If you're playing straight Zapdos Jirachi with no GXs, Shrine of Punishment is a great option. Obviously, you're playing one copy of Thunder Mountain here, but what we're playing here is Viridian Forest. And the reason we're playing Viridian Forest is extremely simple. We're only playing free fighting energy. So we need to be able to find them quickly. When you're only playing free, that won't always happen. Viridian Forest lets you discard any card from your hand and search your deck for a basic energy and put it in your hand. This is how you find the fighting energy. This is how it works. This is how we're going to get the fighting energy when we need it. And that's essentially the deck. You can see the full list on the screen here, but as I've said, other than what we've talked about, it's a fairly straightforward kind of deck. You got Lily and Cynthia for draw power, and 4 Guzma because you need lots of switching, plus free switch to Escape Rope. It's pretty much everything you would be expecting. I like this deck, and I do think it's important that there were 2 Zapdos decks in top 8 in Colorado, and there are over 600 people in Colorado, and one of them was this one. And maybe it's just because you can hit fighting weakness on stuff like Pikarom or Zoroark, but I got a surprise for you, ladies and gentlemen. I got some news for you. Those decks aren't going anywhere anytime soon. They're staying around, which means this could stay good. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. A deck we're expecting, but a list that we're maybe not. But I would like to know what you think about this, whether you were expecting it, whether you think it's good, was it a flash in the pan, is it just one deck that one guy did well with one time? Let me know in the comment section, go nuts! But please do remember the rule, ladies and gentlemen. Be nice, would you? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about games that don't have Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.